episode 6.
Maybe.
Yeah, 6-ish, I think.
Yeah.
Today, we will be talking about the therapies that we do with the boys. We get a lot of questions asking what kind of therapies our kids are involved in. And they differ from, I guess, different stages of life and where they're at. But we get a lot of questions about therapy, so we thought we'd do an episode about therapy.
Yeah, so before we begin, one thing that I want to add before we start about our experiences or anything like that, regardless of how it appears through the rest of this conversation, at no point have we ever had any issues with any therapists as individuals.
You'll see where this is going.
Okay, you'll see where this is going. We maybe get a little heated, but we've never had an issue with a therapist.
Every therapist that we've seen and that Jaxson has worked with has been amazing. So every therapist is A+. It's the system that's flawed. So we'll definitely get into that.
We'll get there, but I just thought that was like an important precursor, because it might not come across that way, but that's our honest feelings on that.
Yeah. So why don't we start off talking about Jaxson and kind of where we started with him and where he's at now.
Sure. So we have a program in Medicine Hat that I won't name, but it's run through our hospital that deals with children with intellectual disabilities, or I guess kind of
any sort of disability. It's government funded, like it's through our healthcare system, so it's free.
Totally free. And we got hooked up with what was her title? Home-based development worker. That's the actual title. Before Jaxson even had heart surgery, she called, was like, I was giving your guys' number. I know Jackson's gonna have surgery, but when we get back, give me a call and let's figure something out. So yeah, Jaxson didn't really start anything until he was
about 5-6 months old.
Yeah. So
his first year of life, we saw PT, which is physical therapy. We saw them maybe once a month, once every 2 months.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. Other than the home-based developmental worker, she came over probably monthly as well.
Yeah.
Just to make sure he was on track, making sure that we were set up with all the proper resources that we needed.
Mm.
She worked for the hospital free system as well.
Yeah.
So PT we started with. Then rolling into between the ages of 1 and 2. I don't know, we saw PT maybe on a monthly basis.
I'd say less than that, because he started going to group.
Yeah, they kind of put them in group therapy with a kind of a bunch of kids, and we did that weekly for, like, there was blocks. We did it weekly for like 3 months, and then they took a month or 2 break, and then 3 months again. And then that was kind of their way of saying that you've had therapy for the week or for the month.
Yeah, like, there'd be maybe an OT or an OTA, sort of occupational therapist, physiotherapist, and the speech therapist, or the speech therapist assistant.
They'd be there at this group.
Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't really actually have like private or like one-on-one therapy, like, I don't know, maybe once every couple months. So this is all through that same system. OT saw him, which is occupational therapy. She did an assessment and said she doesn't need to see him for a year. So, okay, cool. And then, so that's kind of all we did between the first and second year of life.
Had the speech therapy assistant come to the house and do blocks at the house, and she was amazing, worked so great with Jax, but it wasn't speech therapy. They labeled it as that, but
it's all about through play, right?
Yeah, the first 2.5 years, all it was just
it kind of just seemed like every therapy was the exact same. They just play and put things in this, and right?
Put the ball in the hole for 3 years.
Yeah. So then between years 2 and 3, we still did this group here and there.
Still did the blocks.
Still did the blocks here and there where they.
But then at this point, though, we now got set up with our aide through the house.
Yeah, so Jamie.
We've talked about Jamie. We got set up with her, so I'll say Linda's name. Linda. So the home-based development worker, Linda, we still have an amazing relationship with her. We partnered her with Jamie, so Linda makes a developmental plan that Jamie kind of has milestones that she needs to work on with Jaxson.
They have been fabulous. They work together so well. So Jamie's worked with Jaxson since he was probably about, 18 months old? Like a year and a half-ish?
Later, I think. But
Anyways.
Probably the last 2 years.
So yeah, between years 2 and 3, nothing really happened. He maybe saw the PT once or twice in that whole year.
One was to beg for a walker and SMOs.
Right. So now you can kind of see where our frustrations are coming in. We have a 3-year-old who isn't walking. No one really cares. Well, not that they didn't care.
Yeah.
I will say that the system, because we talked about the system being flawed, the system is all, we're going to teach the parents to do all this stuff at home, so we don't have to have the kids coming and actually getting therapy as often.
Yeah, I think the system...
It's not right.
Yeah.
Parents are not therapists. We're not the educated ones. We didn't go to school for 4 years to become a therapist of any sort.
And it changes the dynamic in the relationship.
We're the parents, not the therapists. So that's where our major frustrations come in.
We do a lot of work with the kids at home, though, but that's not our primary role, and nor should it be.
So yeah, everything was just do it at home, do it at home, do it at home. We're not going to see you for these appointments.
Yeah, there's just seemed to be like a lot of excuses. Like, Jaxson was signing, but he had like not even really any sounds, no articulate sounds.
Yeah.
And speech would do an assessment, and again, not the therapist at all, just the system. And it was like, well, yeah, he's super delayed, he's really behind, but his fine motor is not going to develop to his gross motor, so we're not going to give him one-on-one until he walks.
But then we wouldn't get the time that we needed with the PT to work on that. So it was just kind of like a vicious cycle. We heard a lot like, well, he has Down syndrome, so he's not going to do this until he's this old.
Yeah.
So, how's that for early intervention, right? So then they just wouldn't give him the services. So that's where frustration comes in with the free system. So,
again, yeah, all those therapists are great. It's not them, it's the program.
It's the program that they work under.
And
their hands are tied.
When you kind of challenge the program and say, like, hey, this is ridiculous, then it turns into, well, we're not here to give you free therapy, we're here to teach you to do it at home for yourself, which is actually being challenged in the Alberta court system right now, I think.
Yeah. So anyway, so then we enrolled Jaxson in Montessori school, and then another funding for school-age kids kicks in called PUF funding, and that's for therapy at school. So once he started preschool, he sees PT, OT, and speech. So he gets the speech therapist weekly at school. And then he sees like the PT assistant and the OT assistant, I think pretty much weekly as well.
Yeah.
So they've been absolutely amazing. They come to the school, which is so nice that it's all handled and taken care of. We're not running from appointment to appointment on like his days off from school. So that's been really nice, hasn't it?
Yeah, because before it just seemed like every day of the week he had some appointment. And to kind of back this up a little bit before school, around the same time Jaxson went to school, we also started getting funding through FSCD, which is Family Supports for Children with Disabilities.
So it's another government program set in place for families who have kids with disabilities.
Yeah, so we got funding through them to help cover some hours of therapists. So we got additional speech hours, which we used for... Just this video.
So he goes to hippotherapy and does speech on a horse, which is the horse riding that we post about all the time.
Which is the best money. We've paid for a lot out of pocket. It's the best money we've ever spent.
And we have to supplement a lot out of our pocket, but that one is worth every single penny and more.
And then last summer we had funding for occupational therapy.
And he's had occupational therapy all year outside of school.
Yeah.
So currently, I know this is kind of all confusing, so currently Jaxson sees those 3 therapies at school, and then we take him to occupational therapy. He gets to go twice a week.
Yeah.
And that's all that's private occupational therapy.
We take him once a week, and then Jamie takes him once a week.
Yeah. He
gets to see Jamie twice a week.
Yeah.
And then in this school year we also did 1 day of the hippotherapy, which we're taking off for the summer just because it's a little too busy.
Yeah, and expensive.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at with Jaxson. So that's kind of most of his therapies at school. I know it sounds like overwhelming and confusing, but most therapies at school now, which is great.
Yeah. We do go to Calgary to see a private physiotherapist that specializes in kids with developmental.
There's no one in our town. There's 2 private PTs in our town that do stuff with kids. they are both so busy in the school system, they cannot take kids over and above that.
Yeah.
So there's literally no one that we can even pay out of pocket for in our city, which has been hard. So we'll drive to Calgary for PT.
And the PT in Calgary has been amazing because she recognizes that obviously it's expensive and crazy to drive 3 hours to therapy, but she works really well with the therapist here and the rest of Jackson's school support team. So anything we do with her, she will send a big...
She's in touch.
Yeah, she immediately sends an email to the physiotherapist here out of the school system, and then his aide, his workers, his teachers, and just says, like, this is what we did, this is kind of our plan moving forward, so that all of his support team can help implement what she's done.
Yeah, everyone's really good at keeping in contact and working together. Like, even between, like, school, we have... what do we call them in Canada? IPP meetings?
Yeah, IPP.
So we have those 3 times throughout the year with all the therapists and the school board, like who offers the funding. So everyone's on the same page in it. So that has been absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't ask for a better support team around him right now.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Nico and where we're at with Nico. So Nico's 6 months old now. And we're not doing any therapy right now with him, nothing official.
Yeah. Main reason, he's a unicorn.
Yeah.
I actually had my tie-dye unicorn shirt on today to emphasize that point, but he puked on it.
Yeah, so what Alex means by that is he's like the complete opposite of Jaxson. His muscle tone is outstanding. He's meeting all the milestones as typical babies at this age, if not earlier. He's been rolling front to back to front for months. Today he's trying to scooch himself on the floor, doing tummy time. He's close to sitting independently.
Yeah.
So he's doing really well right now.
And medically,
he's got nothing going on.
He's got nothing. Yeah. He, minor heart, it fixed itself, minor feeding. We still have some challenging days, but I mean, on the scale of things you can have when you have Down syndrome, his is very, very minimal.
Yeah.
Hence the unicorn.
So, I guess we should talk about what our plan is with Nico.
Yeah.
So he's not currently in anything. We absolutely do not plan to put him into the free covered therapy program that we've talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about why?
Yeah, we do.
We do? Okay. So, I know. Okay. So, how long ago? 4 or 5 months ago, we made an appointment with Jaxson just to follow up at the place. Alex took Jaxson to the appointment. She was met by the supervisor of the place, sat down, and
in a closed door room
and was very threatening to Alex.
She was super passive aggressive. Yeah. Pretty much she said, listen, social media can ruin people's lives. We don't appreciate you. For better words, this isn't exactly how she said it, okay? We don't appreciate you shit-talking the program. And, if people, you're going to be like that, people don't want to work with you. And I was like, I have actually no idea what you're talking about. I said, minus the fact we did make a post about going to Calgary and that we got more therapy in an hour and a half than we'd received in 3 years.
Yeah. So
she didn't like that post.
We've been vocal, on our social media, that, when we're not happy with things, whatever. Again, nothing against a therapist. Every therapist we have ever seen
awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's the system.
Yeah. It's not their fault they can't see you every day. Yeah. Or they can only see you once every 6 months. That's not on them.
So anyway, she was very threatening to Alex. We're never going back. Ever. No way. Mm-hmm. So when the time comes that Nico needs therapies and to get him enrolled in things, we'll just be paying out of pocket for private therapy.
Yeah.
Which we have learned with Jax is worth every penny. It's worth going broke for. It's worth it.
Yeah.
So we're just going to start off on the right foot with Nico and get the appropriate things. It comes at a cost, a large cost. Luckily, we will have some help with that. Nico's FSCD contract.
And we're both working.
Instead of one of us. This is a big part of why I went back to work casual.
Yeah.
So we can pay for these things that our boys need that we're not getting and that we can't rely on the system for.
Yeah. And I think the big thing as well with Nico is everything he needs right now is from a complete gross motor perspective. And all of that we've learned through Jaxson, those kind of beginning stages. So we don't really need anyone helping us with that. Now, when it comes to some of the other stuff, when it comes to some of the developmental milestones, we've got Linda, who's kind of our central hub command system for all of our other service providers, and we'll just go to her, have her kind of figure out where he's at, and tell us, okay, I think maybe OT or maybe PT, or this is where you guys should funnel your resources, and we'll just listen to what she says and pay for it. And I've said this a million times over and over again, I'll go broke paying to get the boys what they need.
Yeah, nothing but the best.
Yeah.
So absolutely, we'll do it.
Yeah.
So I guess the biggest takeaway from our talk about therapy, sorry to bore you guys, but we get a lot of questions about therapy.
Yeah.
So, is just be an advocate for your kids. If something doesn't sit right with you, don't take that as an answer. Always push for the best for your child.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to butt heads if you need to butt heads.
Yeah.
And it might mean, paying out of pocket for things that you're not getting that you need. But it's all about advocating for your child and for their best needs.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, if someone tells you, oh, it's okay, they have Down syndrome, they're not going to do this till XYZ, you bitch slap that person in the face.
It's not okay.
No, seriously though, that's not okay. They have Down syndrome isn't a good enough answer. And take a look at all the other, older people with DS in our world, in our lives, that we know through social media, and look at the things they're doing. And I guarantee you, along the way, they've had someone say, oh, they're not going to do that, they have DS. And it's the parents and the kids and the people in their lives that say, that's not a good enough answer, and challenge it. That's why these young adults and kids grow to be who they are. So just don't ever back down, and don't take that as an answer. Just
doesn't sit right, then there's a reason why.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about when it comes to therapy?
I think honestly we could go so much deeper into all of this. We could talk about what OT looks like and what PT looks like and what speech therapy looks like. But we'd be here all day and it might bore some people. And honestly, it's probably different for every kid. But if anyone wants more information on any of that, please feel free to DM either one of us. And we'd be more than happy to go into more information on some of the specifics of what he's done.
It's hard because we get a lot of questions about therapy. But, it differs from not province to province, but city to city.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what the States looks like as far as programs, and I think it's all state to state as well, and even some cities you can get this and others you can't get that. So where we live, it's all literally just what city you're in, depending, we've heard of the city getting amazing services and the city an hour away getting most horrendous services. So, So therapy's kind of a hard one to talk about, but where we are, that's kind of how we covered that today.
Yeah.
So, and if you guys have any other questions when it comes to therapy, feel free to send us a message to our inbox on Instagram, either Alex or myself. And we can always absolutely do another vlog about this down the road. But I hope this answers questions and gives you a good idea of what our boys are involved in and why.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good.
I think that's it.
All right. See you guys next week.
Peace out.